What happens when a renowned high-end boutique microphone manufacturer enters the burgeoning world of microphones for spoken word? Find out today on Under the Big Tree. Earthworks is an American microphone manufacturer based in New Hampshire. Earthworks was founded in the late 80s by legendary engineer David Blackmer, who had previously invented the DBX noise reduction system and founded the corresponding DBX company. Blackmer's vision in founding Earthworks was to create exceptionally clean and accurate recording devices, suitable for high-end acoustic work. He was convinced that frequencies above the normal range of human hearing had a substantive effect on the recording and playback of music. Blackmer was not alone in this viewpoint. I remember seeing Rupert Neve lecture on this point, and he held the same view. As a result, Earthworks' early design aesthetics specified that their microphones be flat to 40 kHz, and their microphone preamp be flat to 100 kHz. I first came in contact with Earthworks microphones in the late 90s, when a friend, sound designer Larry the O, told me about them. He knew that I was focused on getting the best recordings I could of acoustic instruments and ambiances for sound design. On his recommendation, I purchased a matched pair of the Earthworks QTC-1s, an exceptional and innovative pair of omnidirectional mics that I still use to this day. There is a beautiful, uncolored presentation with great detail and a phase coherence when using the pair that I just can't get with cardioid pairs of mics. They are great for recording my piano, where I often place them a few feet back from the sounding board to get the blended sound of the instrument in the room, the way that our ears actually hear the instrument. They are my absolute favorites for drum overheads, as they capture the sparkly sheen of the cymbal's upper frequencies beautifully. And they are terrific for recording classical ensembles or small choral groups. I don't use them for recording dead quiet ambiances that much because there's a little too much self-noise for that particular application. For louder ambient environments, they are fine. But I digress. The subject of this discussion is Earthworks' new line of broadcast microphones. In addition to general-purpose mics, Earthworks has created instrument-specific microphones for a long time, including mics for drum kits, acoustic and electric guitars, and choral ensembles. With the incredible rise of home journalism in the form of podcasts, YouTube videos, Twitch streams, and even Zoom meetings, Earthworks saw an opportunity to create a line of high-quality microphones for the spoken word. And thus, they created the Icon and Ethos line of microphones. In full disclosure, Earthworks sent me these mics as review units to get my feedback as an audio professional. They did not ask me to create this video, nor do they have any say in its content. I wanted to do it because I believe in these mics and this company. Like the other videos on my channel, I present this information because I enjoy sharing my knowledge and experience with others. So, let's start with the Icon. It is a bulletproof, dead simple tabletop USB spoken word mic. When combined with a laptop or tablet, it forms a stable, solid, high-quality recording system with minimal points of failure. The mic is USB compliant, meaning that no Earthworks-specific device driver is needed to be installed, although on Windows, you will need to make sure you have an ASIO driver installed. The rear of the mic has a USB port, a gain knob, and, incredibly, a headphone jack. As a result, if you are using this for spoken word, there is no need for a separate audio interface. Since the Icon comes with a desktop mic stand, your entire recording rig consists of a laptop, the Icon, a pair of headphones, a USB cable, and a power adapter for the laptop. That's it. The Icon is solidly constructed out of stainless steel, with a hefty weight and luxurious feel to it. Even the gain knob is made out of metal, to create the sense that no corners were cut. Earthworks teamed up with Triad Orbit to provide the stand, which features a ball mount to allow for ease of mic positioning. This mic is not going to slip around on your desk. Furthermore, the entire presentation is loaded with small details. The Icon comes in a fancy cardboard box that swings open, with dense foam holding the mic and stand in place. Even the enclosed USB cables are high-quality mesh in a silver color that goes with the mic and stand, and the Earthworks logo on the jack housing. These small niceties show the level of care that Earthworks is putting into their products. Podcasting and YouTube videos were already a big thing, but the pandemic poured gasoline on that fire, causing the home recording industry to absolutely explode. Like it or not, people communicate with each other through their computers more than ever before, and I don't see that trend as abating. We are presenting ourselves to the world through the lens of the webcam, with our voices represented by a cheap, tiny microphone buried within the insides of those units. There are some decent USB mics out there, and lots of really bad cheap ones. But Earthworks sees a market for high-quality, gimmick-free, simple-to-use USB mics with great sound quality, and that is what the Icon aims for. With this in mind, install your favorite recording program on your laptop. I use Reaper. Add communication software like Zoom. Take a pair of headphones in the Icon, and presto, you have a great-sounding, highly portable recording rig. You can send it to people who don't have a recording system at home and control it remotely to capture their speech. And this brings me to a story. I was recently directing an audiobook using this exact setup. The author was narrating her own book from her home, and we were on a very tight deadline to get it done. We had shipped her the aforementioned recording rig for a Saturday delivery so we could set up Monday and begin recording Tuesday. But then, the box didn't show up on Saturday, or Sunday, or Monday morning. We were in a tight spot and had to come up with a creative solution quickly. I started looking for a music store near the author where someone could run out and buy an Icon for the session. No luck. And so, in a Hail Mary pass, I called Earthworks in New Hampshire and explained our situation. They made some calls, and half an hour later they called me back, giving the contact information for a local customer who had an Icon and was willing to loan it to us for the session. We drove over and picked it up, set up the requisite software on the author's laptop, and began setting levels and testing the system. We started recording the book the next morning and ended right on schedule that Friday, having recorded over 100,000 words in 4 days. So think about that for a minute. We called the company trying to find a place to quickly purchase their mic, and they bent over backwards to find an immediate solution that involved loaning us their mic instead. And to put the cherry on the sundae, they were so taken by the story that they let the author keep the loaner and replaced it for the original owner. I mean, who does that? And the answer is a small company that is focused on customer service all the way. So how does the Icon sound? The proof is in the pudding. I set the Icon up on my Mac, which consisted of plugging it into a USB port and placing it in front of me on my own desk, behind my keyboard, about 18 inches up from my mouth. I set up a Zoom call with my friend, dialogue recording expert Randy Coppinger. I began the call with my audio input set to the internal mic of the webcam. It had its usual thin, roomy, cheap sound. I then switched over to the Icon. Randy's eyes went wide. He said, "It's all there now. Noise floor is gone, and all of the tone and presence of your voice is audible. There is detail, and it sounds much more like we're having a conversation in the room. I've always liked Earthworks mics for their incredibly fast impulse response, but to hear this kind of quality coming out of a $350 mic, especially one that has to have A to D circuitry inside as well, very impressive." So, considering the fact that I am often on Zoom for several hours per day, the Icon is now taking up permanent residence on my desk, except when I need to take it out for portable recording tasks. Later in this video, I'll do an A-B comparison so you can hear Icon for yourself. Note that if you want the sound of the Icon without the USB port, Earthworks makes a traditional all-analog version with a standard XLR connector dubbed the Icon Pro. The Icon is designed for anyone who's interested in getting a high-quality vocal sound from their desktop, and as I've mentioned, it is used in professional projects all the time. But Earthworks has also designed a higher-end spoken word mic aimed at the stone-cold professional that is still sold at a relatively reasonable price point. Dubbed the Ethos, this flagship model is an all-analog design, requiring phantom power and a mic preamp with a standard XLR output. Like the Icon, the Ethos is built from stainless steel and has the high-quality fit and finish you would expect. Ethos is a top-facing mic with a cylindrical tube for the electronics and a narrower mesh tube that holds the capsule. It comes with a black removable foam windscreen that fits over the mesh tube and makes it the same diameter as the larger tube, creating a single cylindrical object. Like the Icon, the Ethos has a ball joint mount from Triad Orbit, which, when connected to a mic stand, allows for a good deal of flexibility in positioning the mic. The Ethos may have a sleek, unfussy design and high build quality, but how does it sound? I can describe it in 2 words: radio-friendly. To my ears, the mic is voiced to have a smooth, velvety mid-range with an emphasis on the lower mids. You can certainly get bassy with this mic, but it feels like there is a high-pass filter way down low to eliminate rumble and the absolute lowest frequencies of a bass voice like mine. The lowest frequencies of a bass voice like mine. The highs also feel rolled off, so there was zero sibilance with the s and f sounds that can mess up a vocal recording. This may not be the ideal mic to pick up cymbals or glockenspiels, but the frequency range seems to match the range of the human voice very well. One thing I did notice is the occasional plosive when saying words that start with the letter P. The foam windscreen is good, but could use a bit of help from another pop filter. Once I put one a couple of inches in front of the foam windscreen, all P-pops were eliminated. I'm a panelist on, at nearly 16 years, the longest-running pro audio podcast out there, the Audionowcast. I brought the Ethos to our last broadcast, substituting it for my instance of the large diaphragm dynamic mic we all use for the show. As soon as we started testing it, I could see smiles on the faces of my colleagues. Everyone had the same reaction I did to it: a smooth, creamy mic that emphasizes the low mids while rounding off the highs to avoid sibilance. They thought it added heft and gravitas to the bottom, without being boomy. Leaning into it and eating the mic really brought out that hefty radio sound. But with my naturally deep voice, I liked it better from about 4 to 6 inches away. All in all, it was a hit, and I'll be bringing it back to use for every broadcast. Describing the sound of microphones is all well and good, but I think it much more useful to actually compare their sounds. You already know the sound of the Ethos by now, because that's what I've been using to record this video. But let's wrap this up by listening to a comparison of different mics in my collection. For this test, I read the same copy for each mic. I ran each mic into the same mic preamp, a Millennia Media HV3D, recording into a Sound Devices 722 recorder through a Neve 8816 summing console. I spoke at about the same distance from each mic, and the only post-processing task was to try to level match the recordings, so you're hearing the tonal characteristics of the mic and not the loudness. Finally, I recorded the Icon USB mic digitally into my computer. The signal chain is different, of course, but it should still give you a good point of comparison with these other microphones. I leave the opinions up to the listener, of course, and invite you to share them in the comments section below. This is the Earthworks Ethos. That music always round me, unceasing, unbeginning, yet long untaught I did not hear. But now the chorus I hear and am elated. A tenor, strong, ascending with power and health, with glad notes of daybreak I hear. A soprano, at intervals sailing buoyantly over the tops of immense waves. A transparent bass shuddering lusciously under and through the universe. The triumphant tutti, the funeral wailings with sweet flutes and violins, all these I fill myself with. I hear not the volumes of sound merely. I am moved by the exquisite meanings. I listen to the different voices winding in and out, striving, contending with fiery vehemence to excel each other in emotion. I do not think the performers know themselves, but now I think I begin to know them. Neumann TLM103. That music, always round me, unceasing, unbeginning, yet long untaught, I did not hear. But now the chorus I hear and am elated. A tenor, strong, ascending with power and health, with glad notes of daybreak I hear. A soprano, at intervals sailing buoyantly over the tops of immense waves. A transparent bass shuddering lusciously under and through the universe. The triumphant tutti, the funeral wailings with sweet flutes and violins, all these I fill myself with. I hear not the volumes of sound merely, I am moved by the exquisite meanings. I listen to the different voices winding in and out, striving, contending with fiery vehemence to excel each other in emotion. I do not think the performers know themselves, but now I think I begin to know them. Sennheiser MD421 dynamic mic. That music always round me, unceasing, unbeginning, yet long untaught I did not hear. But now the chorus I hear and am elated, a tenor, strong, ascending with power and health, with glad notes of daybreak I hear. A soprano, at intervals sailing buoyantly over the tops of immense waves. A transparent bass shuddering lusciously under and through the universe. The triumphant tutti, the funeral wailings with sweet flutes and violins, all these I fill myself with. I hear not the volumes of sound merely, I am moved by the exquisite meanings. I listen to the different voices winding in and out, striving, contending with fiery vehemence to excel each other in emotion. I do not think the performers know themselves, but now I think I begin to know them. This is the Electrovoice RE20. That music always round me, unceasing, unbeginning, yet long untaught I did not hear. But now the chorus I hear and am elated, a tenor, strong, ascending with power and health, with glad notes of daybreak I hear. A soprano, at intervals sailing buoyantly over the tops of immense waves. A transparent bass shuddering lusciously under and through the universe. The triumphant tutti, the funeral wailings with sweet flutes and violins, all these I fill myself with. I hear not the volumes of sound merely, I am moved by the exquisite meanings. I listen to the different voices winding in and out, striving, extending with fiery vehemence to excel each other in emotion. I do not think the performers know themselves, but now I think I begin to know them. This is a Sennheiser 416 shotgun mic. And you might be asking, why would you possibly be using a shotgun mic in a broadcast mic shootout? And the answer is simple, because the 416 is used ubiquitously on film sets to be able to pick up dialogue. And as a result, voiceover actors then go into the studio and use the 416 for ADR to match the dialogue that was recorded in the production. So, that sound, the sound of this microphone, is so well known that it turns out that voiceover actors often use it even for non-film things just because of the fact that people are used to the sound. That music, always round me, unceasing, unbeginning, yet long untaught, I did not hear. But now the chorus I hear and am elated, a tenor, strong, ascending with power and health, with glad notes of daybreak I hear. A soprano, at intervals sailing buoyantly over the tops of immense waves. A transparent bass shuddering lusciously under and through the universe. The triumphant tutti, the funeral wailings with sweet flutes and violins, all these I fill myself with. I hear not the volumes of sound merely, I am moved by the exquisite meanings. I listen to the different voices winding in and out, striving, contending with fiery vehemence to excel each other in emotion. I do not think the performers know themselves, but now I think I begin to know them. This is the Webcam. That music, always round me, unceasing, unbeginning, yet long untaught, I did not hear. But now the chorus I hear and am elated, A tenor, strong, ascending with power and health, with glad notes of daybreak I hear. A soprano at intervals, sailing buoyantly over the tops of immense waves. A transparent bass shuddering lusciously under and through the universe. The triumphant tutti, the funeral wailings with sweet flutes and violins, all these I fill myself with. I hear not the volumes of sound merely, I am moved by the exquisite meanings. I listen to the different voices winding in and out, striving, contending with fiery vehemence to excel each other in emotion. I do not think the performers know themselves, but now I think I begin to know them. This is the Earthworks Icon. That music, always round me, unceasing, unbeginning, yet long untaught, I did not hear. But now the chorus I hear and am elated. A tenor, strong, ascending with power and health, with glad notes of daybreak I hear. A soprano, at intervals sailing buoyantly over the tops of immense waves. A transparent bass shuddering lusciously under and through the universe. The triumphant tutti, the funeral wailings with sweet flutes and violins, all these I fill myself with. I hear not the volumes of sound merely, I am moved by the exquisite meanings. I listen to the different voices winding in and out, striving, contending with fiery vehemence to excel each other in emotion. I do not think the performers know themselves, but now I think I begin to know them. That music always round me, unceasing, unbeginning, yet long untaught I did not hear. But now the chorus I hear and am elated. A tenor, strong, ascending with power and health, with glad notes of daybreak I hear. A soprano, at intervals sailing buoyantly over the tops of immense waves. A transparent bass shuddering lusciously under and through the universe. The triumphant tutti, the funeral wailings with sweet flutes and violins, all these I fill myself with. I hear not the volumes of sound merely, I am moved by the exquisite meanings. I listen to the different voices winding in and out, striving, contending with fiery vehemence to excel each other in emotion. I do not think the performers know themselves, but now I think I begin to know them. My thanks to Earthworks for supplying these review copies of the Ethos and Icon mics. So that's it for this episode of Under the Big Tree. As always, if you like what I'm doing here, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Till we meet again, this is Nick, signing off.